Macmillan Audio presents The Burning Chambers by Kate Mosse, read for you by Hattie Morahan.
To every thing there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 to 8, King James Version. Note on the Wars of Religion. The Wars of Religion were a sequence of 8 civil wars, which began after years of conflict on the 1st of March 1562, with the massacre of unarmed Huguenots in Vassy by the Catholic forces of Francis, Duke of Guise. They ended, after several million had died or been displaced, with the signing of the Edict of Nantes on the 13th of April 1598 by the Protestant king, Henri IV, Henri of Navarre. The most notorious engagement of the wars is the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre in Paris, commencing just before dawn on the 24th of August 1572. But there were many similar events in towns and cities the length and breadth of France before and after that, including in Toulouse between the 13th and 16th of May 1562, when more than 4,000 people were slaughtered. The Edict of Nantes, when it came, was less a genuine reflection of a desire for religious tolerance than an expression of exhaustion and military stalemate. It brought a grudging peace to a country that had torn itself apart over matters of doctrine, religion, and sovereignty, and all but bankrupted itself in the process. Henri IV's great-grandson, Louis IX, revoked the edict at Fontainebleau on the 22nd of October 1685, precipitating the exodus of those Huguenots still remaining in France. Huguenots never numbered more than 1/10 of the French population, yet their influence was significant. The story of French Protestantism is part of the larger European story of the Reformation, from Martin Luther's hammering his 77 edicts to the church door in Wittenberg on All Saints' Day, 1517, Henry VIII of England's dissolution of the monasteries, which began in 1536, to the missionary evangelist Calvin setting up his safe haven in Geneva for French refugees in 1541, and the safe haven offered to Protestant refugees in Amsterdam and Rotterdam from the late 1560s onwards. In France, key points at issue were the right to worship in one's own language, a rejection of the cult of relics and intercession, a more rigorous focus on the words of the Bible itself, and a desire to worship simply, based on the rules for living laid down in Scripture, a rejection of the excesses and abuses of the Catholic Church that were repugnant to many, the nature of the host, transubstantiation as opposed to consubstantiation. For most people, though, these matters of doctrine were remote. There are many excellent histories of the Huguenots, and the influence of this small community is extraordinary, a diaspora that took them, as skilled refugees, to Holland, to Germany, to England, to Canada, and to South Africa. The Burning Chambers is a series of novels set against the backdrop of...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?